Shanam Kirtan Vishnu of Vishnu, Smaranam remembering, Parasivanam worshipping the lotus feet or serving the lotus feet, Archanam doing worship, Vandanam offering prayers, Vandanam Dashyam becoming a servant, and Sakyam Atmanivedanam offering everything to the Lord.
Developing friendship and offering everything to the Lord, yes. And if actually in the Vaishnava tradition, the two most important aspects of these 9 are Shravan and Kirtan. Actually, we can go back to Godhead by just, for example, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, just hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, repeating the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing, chanting. That is sufficient. And that is mainly the main activities of the Krishna consciousness movement, chanting and hearing. Even you might say, if you sell a book on the street, that is also chanting and hearing, in a sense. Because you sell a book to somebody, you are chanting, and he is hearing by paying for the book. In one sense, you can say that. So that is even that is Shravana Kirtan. So by trying to understand, everybody is advised to study these books, Bhagavad Gita. It exists now in a Danish, very nice new printing. And the Srimad Bhagavat also. It exists at least in Danish, and English, and soon we will also have to reprint that, I guess. Everybody is advised to study these books, and together with studying these books, perform devotional service, chant 16 rounds a day, or a few rounds a day, whatever is possible, eat prasad, associate with the devotees, and then gradually, Jnana Dipena Bhasvata, all the ignorance in the heart will be destroyed, just by that process. There's no use, there's no need of trying to speculate and understand what is Krishna, who is Krishna, I wonder what it's like in the spiritual world. It's probably like this, or how does the laws of physics work in the spiritual world? Does thing fall down or up, or so many speculations you might have. Am I floating in the spiritual world, or what's going on there? There's no need of all these kinds of material speculation. The only thing we have to do is to hear the descriptions from the books and repeat them and perform devotional service, and gradually that knowledge, which in the beginning might seem to be, I don't know, theoretical or a little dry or difficult to understand, that will become alive by trying to please a pure devotee with service. Try to engage in this mission of the Krishna consciousness movement, like trying to do the thing that Srila Prabhupada has asked us to do, to spread it, and become engaged and to spread it. Then gradually all the ignorance of our own heart will disappear, and in this way we can help everybody else to have their ignorance dispelled. So the Krishna consciousness movement is an attempt to open up, by chanting Hare Krishna and performing pure devotional service, open up the storehouse of love of God and make it flood all over the world. That's what we have to do. So if we act according to the spiritual master, that will happen. But if we try to do things in a slightly different way because we think we are Westerners and it's slightly superior, then that is not invoking the pleasure of the Lord. That will invoke our own pride and make us just become proud. So the essence of devotion, the one very important aspect of devotional service is to surrender with great humility to the Lord, and understanding that just the fact that we have left the Lord in the spiritual world once is an offense. That means we have offended Krishna by leaving Him. Big offense. So we have to approach Krishna with some humility and beg for forgiveness for our offense of leaving His lotus feet, and then do our best to repent and try to serve Him and hope that He will accept our service very humbly. So are there any questions or comments? 10 minutes left, yes?
You was mentioned that you have to hear from a pure devotee.
Pure devotee.
But in many years back and also now, people you think was a pure devotee falling down, sannyasis. So how can you be sure that now you are sitting and hearing?
But as long as the there is repetition of what's been said in Guru Param. That is pure devotional service. And you can always, if somebody is speaking the truth, and maybe then temporarily falling down, that doesn't mean what they spoke when they were engaged in devotional service was not the truth. So Krishna will make sure, if you're sincere and you follow him, the person who may fall down later spoke the truth. That means you know the truth, and now you can act according to that truth, because you are connected with the Parampara. And you can always check the books, they're there. All that Prabhupada ever said is in his books. So if you just make sure that you understand read all the books and remember what's in them, then you're safe. That's all you have to do, is to learn all the books. Then there's no way you can become cheated. And you can hear from Srila Prabhupada, he never fell down. His tapes are still there. And to the extent that your spiritual master, of course, speaks the truth as Srila Prabhupada spoke it, doesn't change. That means that's pure devotional service. But if there is a change, if the principles change, if something else is there, then we have to be careful. It has to be exactly what Prabhupada said, nothing more, nothing less. Yeah.
In that connection, but it says in the purport that even if one do not take advantage of the scriptures or the spiritual master, one can still make advancement. But that seems contradictory, because it's our whole process really surrendering to Guru and Krishna.
Yeah, you surrender to the Guru, and the point is that you surrender to Guru, you might only be able to do menial service. You may be illiterate or not able to understand things intellectually. So you can surrender to a spiritual master, but you're not intellectual, you're not into reading. But you service, taking advantage of the spiritual master, Prabhupada, means to hear from him and understand the philosophy. But if you're actually sincere, then Krishna will enlighten you from within. But then again, if you are actually sincere, you will also read the books and learn how to read. So it's a little, but still the principle is there. Krishna will enlighten you from within. You can feel it. It's not an exaggeration, because we've all felt it when we engaged in pure devotional service and tried to please Srila Prabhupada. We all felt that inside. You must have felt it too. The bliss that comes when you actually please Krishna. That is the enlightenment. So everybody, and even, you might have a spiritual master who fell down, but even those who did have such a spiritual master who fell down, they also felt the bliss. So that means they are connected to the parampara. It's not that because your spiritual master deviates, now your chances are nil. No. The super soul is still there. You're initiated, and you can still have the knowledge. Either from the devotees or from the books. If you want to become Krishna conscious, you can. But in order to want to become Krishna conscious, you have to know what it is. And that means you have to first somehow come into contact in some capacity with the pure devotees, such as Srila Prabhupada through his books, through his devotees. And then you're in the fire. The details of your initiating spiritual master, fall or not, that might say that is important, but it's not life-threatening. Because you can always continue, even though your Diksha Guru is not there, you can always take Shiksha from how many Gurus you want. Prabhupada says in the beginning of the Chaitanya Charitamrita that you can all have more than one Diksha Guru, but you can have as many Shiksha Gurus as you want. So if your Diksha Guru is not around anymore, you can take Shiksha from anybody who is qualified and still get the knowledge. But you have to be sincere. So it's a little tricky. If you're not sincere, then you will search out somebody who is also not sincere. If there is a lingering, desire within your heart to do something a little different or to not exactly follow the parampara, then you will also get somebody who not exactly follows the parampara as your spiritual master. It is from your inner sincerity. But the thing is that it has to start with one absolute pure devotee. It has to start there with a pure devotee, such as Lord Chaitanya, Mahaprabhu, or all the pure devotees in a disciplic succession that came from the spiritual world, or became blessed by somebody who came from the spiritual world. So that seed has to be there, and then it perpetuates through the generations. But as long as the origin is available in the form of books or lectures, then you're safe. You just have to find a living person who represents that.
But actually, I've heard that it's on Baba you can fall down, not on praying. That is a pure devotee, isn't it?
Yeah. So you just have to come to the prema platform?
Well, I mean, you said that if
actually, even
he
from
can,
the...
so he can be a pure devotee and fall down in the beginning, or
You can be very highly elevated, but maybe you commit an offense due to some craziness, or then you fall down temporarily. But somebody who has pleased Krishna, his fall will only be temporary. Maybe this life, next life, he will continue again. But if you are sincere, you will not fall down.
Is it correctly understood that you don't have to be a pure devotee to do pure devotional service?
How is that? I don't understand.
Well,
If you do pure devotional service, how are you not a pure devotee then?
I heard it explained like this, that a pure devotee engages in pure devotional service all the time, while a person who is not yet a pure devotee might engage like momentarily in pure devotional service.
Well, Prabhupada's definition of pure devotee is basically somebody who has agreed to follow another pure devotee. Pure devotional service in Prabhupada's books defines by the fact that you are not doing other processes such as karma or jog or jnana. You're only practicing the bhakti itself. That is pure devotional service. So if you are in a temple attempting to practice according to the real rules and regulations, that is also pure devotional service, as long as you do it all the time. And very quickly, if you do that, all your inner troubles will disappear. So, pure devotee, and then there's of course the other definition that you're only a pure devotee when you're on the prema platform. So, there are these two, that is the Mahabhagavat. Pure devotional service, according to my understanding from Prabhupada's books, can also be both Kanishta, Madhyam and Uttam. It can be all the three. But they're on different levels of pure devotional service. But they all accept the process of devotional service as the ultimate. They are not, you are for example not doing fire yagas in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, are you? Are you practicing the Jnana section?
I like knowledge.
No, but are you practicing it according? No. Are you practicing the Ashtanga yoga? No. So that what you then are doing? What are you doing then? That's pure devotional service. You are doing devotional service according to the instruction of the pure devotee, without mixing it with karma, jnana, or yoga. That is pure devotional service. So in that sense, it is pure devotional service. Yes, even though you may not be on the Pava or Prema platform. That is how I understand it from the books. Yes?
Just one comment to what Prabhu said here. As he said, thank you firstly for a very nice discourse, for a very nice lecture. You said in your discourse, whatever we do, God is in our, Lord Krishna is in our heart, and you do things as per your previous karma, as per your activities in your previous lives. In other words, if one wants to be have a guru or have a Maharaj or whatever you may call it, because of your past karma, it is possible that you may choose a guru who may at a particular time fall down, and that is as per your previous activities of your previous life. Is that true, or is that
I don't know if you can mix karma into that equation. Maybe. I was more speaking about the things we do before we come to devotional. Once you surrender into the, become initiated in the Guru Parampara, then as long as you are sincere, things are not exactly going on according to karma. They may do, Krishna may use karma out of practical purposes to teach you things here and there, but it's more in our ordinary life, in the karma life, that is all happening through the mercy of the Super Soul, even though we don't hear him. But the Super Soul is the one that reminds us of what we have to do from moment to moment. Also in devotional service. Whether or not our previous karma, it's more our desire. Maybe we will find we will meet a spiritual master who is not completely on the track because we may not be completely sincere inside. That is another story. That may or may not have to do with karma. It's more to do with icha, the desire. Maybe not, because once you surrender to the process of pure devotional service, you are basically outside of karma. Basically outside of karma. It's very tricky, so now we have to stop, I think, because there's a kirtan. Thank you very much, and I think there will be a question and answer session later.
Why are you not doing it?
And I'm not giving it.